Google chat.
Cielo, Pembe, Niemic Chung said Marbe. Niemba Cielo, Pano, Handitail.
That is. That cannot chill. Pending Chung. That can I did Chidagi Jachimbu Kelan. Yamnegia di Jachingu Jabula Jita Canachilla, Pembe Yaminchu, Rana Pembe, Rana Digi, Sedilla Pemba, Sichimala Pemba, Chigi, Vichiniga la Pena in Yamnegia di Kelania di Chimbo, Kela Chilla, Pembe Yaminchu.
Because you know, tired, music function.
Yeah.
Tired. So, I guess we finished verse number 63, right? Like 2 days from already So, actually, which start from the verse number 63. We have promised to do many glorious deeds, yet in practice we give other minimal help. So, Kalan promise, it says promise or commitment. So, we take different kinds of commitments. There are like lots of different commitments we can take. So, commitments are meant to bring you some benefits. So, take carrying on all the commitments and that actually helps you brings benefit for this life. It should be like bring benefit this life and the next life. So then usually we take lots of commitments, and still so uh, uh, we are not able to keep them like purely. So that actually causes us some difficulties and suffering.
That's the arrange, you know, Kelaya de Soda Tomba, Nicha Jusimbe Tombas, Naga Tombas, a penny to be, you know, Soda Tomba Yari. Ni Soda Tomba, any king of China, Soda Tomba, Kalamba. Nicha Jusimbe Tomba, and Nagi on to Nami on to landing Tobati, Naga Tomba. Ani Kelaya di Tombas Kelandia is.
So in general, we have taken 3 different types of commitments, like a vows. So for monks and nuns, they have taken the Pratik Moksha vow, or the fully ordained vows. We call it fully ordained vows. For a layperson, they have a similar kind of vows they can take, and these are the one type of the vows. And the next level, or the next, and then another vows or the commitment we can take is called the Bodhisattva vows. And also there's another, the Tantrayana vows. So when we take initiation, and special highest yoga initiation, so then we are taking the vows of tantric, the tantric vows. We have like we can take 3 different types of vows.
Then at the Ganaya, Sinja Tangi, the Sangi to be Kalimberva, or Kalan, that and the Kalaya this. Janju similar to Jimmy, and then the Sangi to go out to be over Kalan, just a Kalan Chambushra jet, there is.
So this related to this particular text. So this particular text, when we practice this practice, when we take a vow, so it's called like a Bodhisattva vow. So when Bodhisattva vows is we have decided, or we have been taking a promise. We made a promise that we are going to obtain or achieve enlightenment or the Buddhahood in order to bring benefits or happiness for the sentient beings. This is really a huge commitment, actually. But then, since we have taken that just for to obtain your own Buddhahood or the enlightenment, just to bring happiness for the sentient being, this is the major vows of the Bodhisattva.
That DJ, that young Chung said, that Tombatus San Karasure, so that Tomba can, chancing with Tomba can. Naga Tomba can, Simba the Sangi to go on to be Kalimberity, Yamne the Sangi Sinjay to the Sangi Kupantuala, Yamne, Yapuchi Guverba, Yamne, Nyambachela, or the Yamne Chung said, the Yamne Chung said.
So then the text is yet in practice we give others minimum help. So in Tibetan, Nyamling Chung means really little practice. So that means, so for instance, we may have taken all of the vows, for instance, like it could be ordained monk vows, or it could be layperson vows. On top of that, Bodhisattva vows or the tantric vows, and all the purpose of taking these vows is to bring happiness for yourself and for the others. Then when we come to the practice, so we are supposed to act like what we have taken our vow. So then when it comes to our practice, we tend to put very little effort to carry that kind of commitments.
Well, that Nyambachela, Donald Hundred Chase. Any any Tombasunga telling you any Lama singer, Ishi singer, Ming Chimbo, Lama, Ishi. 이제 명칭부지 명칭부지제 네 다나한테 스타트 파 수수수수 줄을 따게 지면은 시제바를 저는 그 찬이 아니 시작이 가서 그래 저는 그 찬이 민지 수수 셈을 파 따게 지면은 아니 셈을 따게 지네 셈 가서 그래 냠내도 준비 삼로 매봐 삼로 배 매팅 쿠티 망부 텐팅 rangi karasugure rangi chedengi chito tab kanje samlo nangatan simjele pembat vyaga samlo mera rangi go samlo rabchi nala samlo khone samlo taje chigina anem sada anem san hase ji dembe hata ile de hata ngashi mera sugi taje tamba ni abe halaya ani sem tete sige sem diagura tene de imbine de ni sem sinye tinde yare on de to suge pe an de rabji ne ani pe teya tala teya siduran pe igi rasul halaya koyar jabatan karasure minda chi jaba mitimba minda nangsim mitimba halaya koyar tinde yisle nyemba chela dana saje chesi
So then verse number 62 talks about our spiritual fame has been spread far and wide, yet inwardly all of our thoughts are repulsive, not only to God but to demons and ghosts. So then there are many, for instance, really highly regarded persons, or like a lama. It could be like a lama, a teacher. So they receive a lot of respect from communities, from people. But so some of them are so even though they may have really like fame or really highly regarded kind of person, but the inwardly means like the way of their thinking, and some of them are the way of their behavior is totally different. So they are supposed to be role model for their community or their group of people, but they act in totally like kind of like stand or like totally different. So then also the way of their thinking. So we are as a teacher or a lama always has to put others in front, or we have to think of them first. So then so there are some lamas or some teachers, they may have name like we may call them a teacher or a guru. So their intention is solely for themselves. They are trying to gather, they're trying to acquire the wealth and fame from those community only for themselves. So that kind of intention or that kind of thoughts are totally different than the name what we call for them. Like we call them as a teacher or guru. So they are supposed to act like a teacher or guru. So then they have to put the other person, well-being of the other person in the front, and instead of doing that, they're actually doing for themselves at the time. So that kind of teacher talking here. So then and it's just not only to God, but I don't know. So here there are some like worldly gods or like supermountain gods. They do have clairvoyance, so they can see, they can read our mind. And not only them, like there are also demons and ghosts, like spirits, so non-human beings. They have like some power to see the thoughts of the others, so they can see, even though they may have like a very high reputation in their community, but they can see how they act, they can see how they think. So then for them, it's really it's like really disgust. like, they discussed about how they think, the teacher, and how they think and how they behaviors. So that's why. So even though the teacher, they may have really fame something, but inwardly or like inner quality is really poor.
Oh, they die around Kenny, like Kenny, the Tumba, and the Senda Tumba, and now the Tumba of the subject to the Sanji to come up to a show to be in Sambarabiti, Manzula, that can be Yaris. Do you ever that any Nambu Canada the Mandela, Canada Council to do the G, Jida, Canada to the Gaba, and gave it to Su. Telling Gay David to Samlutan to the Gaba to Sulabe, Karasure, Shoutum Chia, the Pavius, Paviu till the Debe get Tula, meet the Pavius and around the Kala the Timber. Any Kala did Gawadi never ever did the Chun, you know, I never this would be Karasure. Yosemite, Southern they had to super use here. At the cheaper education, which is and the Tatanega super use at Rangakusum, Jevati, Samlutonda, and Lunag Kunji to Su, and Karasure. See the Simjel and Nurtiata, Ram Rumbachiat, Ram Chimal and Naya, taking Chigutu Meto Tauje, you can't any Karasure. You do so, Tando, into Mandura on Luna using the Lu, the Art, and using the pit, living nature, hugging nature, singing nature, some on the Nimbe on to do to let us Tauje, Medua, Taxichia. Mahombale did Mayo at Chitube, Bejenchia, Luna using to carrying a betros Mandria, or the Betesa. Rangi Kala Mabu Kala Mabuta Timber Narin Gawa, you know, and Gawa to sing you like it to Sula Shaldum Che. And Tata Negasu Chi Rangi Semji Java to Sutaje to sing a bit on the Mandria, the Tapsiche. Mahobane did me Tapsiche. What the teacher could be is.
So, so Rinpoche describe like there are many vows we can take. Maybe some of you may have taken all of those vows. So sometimes, intentionally or unintentionally, we may break those vows. But there is a way to repair them. There's a way to restore our broken vows. So the so the way of restoring or repairing your vow is to remember. So if you haven't if you broke some kind of vow, so think of that. Think of that and feel regret and feel remorse about what you have done. So then make some kind of a promise that the future I won't do this. I'm not going to commit that kind of. I'm not going to repeat that unethical kind of the behaviors or thoughts. So you should make that kind of promise at the end of remorse. Okay. So then that is actually it's called mindfulness. So we need to watch our behaviors. There are 3 doors. Like we usually tend to create bad karmas. The 3 doors are body, speech, and mind. So we need to be mindful about behaviors of body, speech, and mind. So that means like we should not create anything that can bring the difficulties and the sufferings to yourself. So that means like we should not commit any bad karmas. We should not create any bad karma. So mindfulness. So mindfulness is we need to watch our behaviors all the time. So try not to create any bad karmas. So that's similar in that way. So we need to look. So if you have done something wrong, so just recall or just remember them, and so just feel remorse or regret about what you have done, and make some kind of a promise that says, I'm not going to repeat that again in the future. So if you did that, actually it actually helps you to repair or restore your commitments or the vows.
That just Kanje Ran Ran Pedilla Pendo Yoya, Chichimal Pendo Yoya, the Java 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 Sambusi. What is Java Sambu Chendele Ran Chichimal Noya to the Java, just to su how go a Jenny, Chendela Digi to me, Chima Master Chimala Digi to me. The Java Tilla Bebachia. Any Pendeleran never must Chimale Naya Tawadilla Junduchia. Autos that Jachimbrace.
So the negative karma or the positive karma or behavior, negative actions or like positive actions. So there's this, that means, the meaning of that is the negative karma or the negative action is something that actually brings difficulties or the sufferings to yourself. When you attempt to do that, that it brings suffering to yourself, and this time also become the causes for your future sufferings. That kind of act is called the negative karma or the negative actions. So then the on the other hand, the positive karma or the positive actions means, so something when you do that, when you engage with that kind of action, actually brings happiness to yourself this time at this moment, and also that causes a future happiness. So that kind of act we call the positive actions or positive karma.
Or Dina Neta Arandu Semitola to some Ramanda Koya, Sambulan Yamba Koya, Marumba India Koya, that's Semitola deep some Kashoriba. Lee Kicheva and Nagicheva and Basiati. She me Karasure Shananoya Fiati, the Rangi Mima was a tay into Gajala, the Nala Tauchia, Militangia, and he did Mambu Yarba, or to suit Siati, and he Nagin Yerosia. Tachunum Gutonaji, Rangichunum, that Maguya Tachi Direba, G. Dinichiati, Ejitat, Karasum. Goya the dead Yell have it. That same Gitone, Chigi Samlum Batayati, Goya the Kaburba, the in December. Rangisam Samba Marumba, Samba Chimambut in the Korean Gutuna, Samba to Su, Samlutan to Su, and that and never. Rangan Kangas, and that and never. Mase any Sanjay Tanchi, Punjuki Chingirba, and do some look and ditch dance in Punjuki Chingirba. Mission doesn't matter how much. Any Sanjay Chingirba, Chingiri some, done some of the but there's some done Sanjay Chingiri, but this is into some sort of Jenny, some look at Kaya, some look Madu some of Mabuchi time. Digi Rana Kangashi was weary, young every some of Mabuchiko. Nay, Digi Rangan Kangamambuchidaba. What do you do to some of the show me the some of the some of the 진짜 땅이 내 상계的让你生命还过也不是的出去的什么，我今天上面见了我过节，这太细节。
So then, so Rinpoche said earlier, 3 doors of actions: body, speech, and mind. Actions of body, speech, and mind. So then, regarding those 3 doors of the actions, actually, the mind, controlling over your mind is the most difficult one. You said, for instance, so the physical, negative actions could be like a feeling, those kind of actions. It is that this kind of action we call it physical negative actions, right? So this, and also the verbal actions, so like negative actions, verbal negative actions, so like cursing others, saying bad thing about others. So these are compared to the mind, it's really like easier to control over. For instance, like killing people. So we don't go out and kill people like without any reason or something like that. We don't do that like often, sort of like. And the verbal action is like when we associate with people, and if we like mindful about our speech, then it's very easy to control over it. So we don't express or we don't feel something is negative to others. So we can control over negative speeches. So as well. The mind is really the one of really tricky one. So the mind. So we think like this is. So if you think like a negative in your thoughts, in your mind stream, so you may think this is something that nobody can see, or like it's really safe to have that kind of negative thoughts in your mind. But when we look, so the physical actions and the verbal actions are these 2 actions brings really little. These 2 actions actually not much effect to yourself. So that is, so the on the other hand, like mental kind of like negative thoughts actually brings all the difficulties and suffers to yourself. So sometimes we may just by ourselves, we may think like a lot of things, through the process of your thinking, it actually causes a lot of pain in yourself. So then it actually brings a lot of unhappy state of mind. It actually generates that kind of state of unhealthy or the unhappiness state of mind within yourself. That actually affects you, your happiness. So that's why we need to pay more attention to control over our mind. So mind, and also you should think that you should not think that there are nobody will understand, nobody will realize what I'm thinking. So there are many other beings, like they can actually read our mind, they can see our mind. So this is not a hidden something object to anybody. So there are people they can see it. So that's why, so when we do practice, we need to pay more attention, or like we need to be really careful with our mind state, like state of our mind. So that is the one actually brings all the unhappiness within yourself.
다티네 저희가 중라 온게 배감치 다지 최고 돌려 제비나 최고 돌려 저희가 중지 최 저가시다 맞제비제 되니 지 밀리아 지시도 잠바 최배수키 최배시다 매버제 그것도 수기 때문에 지 네 준비루도 멤버제 준견자시 그 저가 전에 저섬 야부제야 말봐 아니 그 최부터를 야부 띵서부터 지 야부셔야 말봐 아니 준견자시 어딘데 전에 루지징이요 아또 술에 지금 저를 짓다 하스나 지와다 수도 아니 지와를 내가야 말봐 지와자 내가야 메도 지 이 롱기 만도 지야미 다비네 내루나 지양 일을 미치바 동번이라 never the Yamnet Ketchumburis. The Quran, Duachi to them, but Duashe, that was a Gian, Yelamichi, Nelu Tombanilla, the Yambasha, Jetchi showed it is. She never jeers to Ketchumbu Marius. Niku Duatandu, Duala Lanchia Yamarva. Never use a dust. Any Nelu Tombani, China, Yamnachi, Chigi, Tavata, Chigi, Dusula, Yamnachin, the Diamari. What indeed, Shangitilla, Tavachula, don't care. Bergamchis, don't care to do Tombanilla, and then Nelu Tombanilla. Yambasha, the Ketchumburis, but Kisha. You are the Timberlake at Begum said.
So then, verse number 64, we have read very little, heard only few teaching, and heard only few teaching that talk with authority, partly on violence. So this is so there are some people, something like that. There are some people that so in general, the Buddhist philosophy or the Buddhist teaching is supposed to study. Like this is meant to like a study and meant to comprehend the overall idea of the Buddha's thoughts. So in order to have that, we need to study the Buddha's teaching. So we need to learn, we need to hear, we need to receive teaching from others. Then we will understand the ultimate thoughts of the Buddha. So then there are like some people, they have really little like really little study or like having like study in the Buddhist teaching. Then so if someone asks question to them, so there are like many contradictions like within the Buddhist philosophies. So when they ask questions, so they do not have any answer for that because they haven't studied it. So then instead of giving them like a right answer or like a right teaching, so they're telling them that the teaching or the Buddhist practice is just meditate on the absence of mind, sort of like absence, nothing. Just don't think of anything in your mind. So just meditate on empty, like the absence of any objects in your mind. So this is the ultimate teaching or the ultimate thoughts of the Buddha. They always present in that way to the teacher, to their audience or to their students. So because they are a lack of their study, so it's like instead of telling them the truth, they're actually leading them like and also telling them so study is not necessary and it's not important part of the Buddhist practice. They always tell to the people that it's not necessary to study the Buddhist philosophy and stuff like that. But in reality, and actually, so in order to understand or to comprehend the ultimate thoughts of Buddha, we have to study. There's no other way to understand the ultimate thoughts of the Buddha.
That's Chunju, make to what you do, some could do could have a tree to be judging the Jammer. Did you do that on when you remember Shabbat? Yametsu did is to some Shiraz to Diamari teacher. Yang Lungja Chunla, Metal Kudos, could have a judging book made maybe in some. Lungrigi, that Karasugre, Chubat Nevere. Tavaja Lunda, Repala Sobatu, Niji, Shinju Jenny, Lungrigi, that in dating never. Never into somebody, Dilichation, Gina Doji, 아니 메도고도세 주만 준장장县里그年纪 지금 메도고도 구스야디 주나도县里 라는 때니 저발 매버니까 아니 롱기 쿠야 말이 리버기 잡대 매버봐 이메지 담바 롱다 리버기 잡대 매니까 아니 주나도县里 5번이지 출신 두수 아니 이리 농계충라 메도고도 도스
So then, verse number 64 says, and our knowledge of Scripture is pitifully lacking, Yet, glibly, right? Glibly, we make them say what we like. So, in Buddhist practice, so first of all, we need to hear the teaching. So we need to hear or study the teaching. Then we also need to understand the lung. Lung means like the statements from the yogis or the spiritual kind of statements from the spiritual yogi practitioners. So we need to understand the each of the yogis' experiential kind of understanding. We need to know that. That kind of understanding is called lung, something like lung. Their statement. We need to rely on their statements. So then, so in order to have that, again, we need to read. We need to study. So we need to read their book. We need to understand their views and the realizations. Then we need to read them. So then, so if someone asks questions, then as a teacher, we're supposed to give them right answer for that right question. But they always give like one answer. They keep giving like one same answer to every question, sort of like telling them just meditate on emptiness. So emptiness here, their emptiness refers to absence of any object in their mind, right? Don't get like an absence of any object in their mind. So they always tell them do this, do that kind of meditation. Actually, that covers entire the understanding of Buddhist practices. So then they are doing that because they lack of the knowledge and they do not have the understanding of the overall idea of the Buddhist philosophy and the Buddha's thoughts.
No, yes, that's what in the chair the Kangalo that Karasure Ranjinji chair is Lucy Tiggy. That the young Metokuto Siati, young Kran Chulu Gandejine Chulu the Mavache, Yapu Mavache. Many are Chulu in Lung Keshe any this part Jima Shane to the Chulu Saja in a Saja Shevache. Then in the Chulu Ran and she did the second. They did it to never check. I Chulu Gangolo Chamba in the Metoku to Kusi. Or the Kanjiti Metoku to Kusi, Ginato Shiati. Young Candeti Chubuti, Juna, the Chulu Shira, Chulu Tamja, Cavamene, Chendo of Jenny, the Chili, the Susan, the ship into the sham and Yentile, Metokuto goes, Metokuto, Siati, or Dilishit, Minduga.
So in the Tibetan, Metokuto, I think in English, they translate it we make up and say what we like. Actually, that is lying. Like Metokuto is like lying, telling lies. So there's many ways to tell lies, like to people. For instance, the earlier Ramesh was describing that the telling them, instead of giving them the right answer, just telling them, just giving like the same answer for every question, telling them that just meditate on emptiness. It's like so the emptiness, right? This is lying because they they do not have that kind of knowledge. That's why they're giving an answer for every questions. Then the another line is like there are some people. They do study really little. For like in Tibetan culture we have 4 sects or the 4 lineages, the 4 lineages of Buddhism. So then they'll go out and study from each of the lineage, and then when they go and talk to people, they pretend like they have studied like all of the lineage, Buddhist lineage of the Tibet. So then they pretend like they know everything. They're like that is actually another way of telling lie to people. So they do not have that kind of knowledge, but they pretend like they are scholar from all of the major tradition Tibet.
다 되게 제가 간 걸로 듣고 봤다고 그랬으나 네 단지다 라진딩이 그랬어. 단지세야디 나가냐면 숙침부들라 네 나도 좀 봤어. 디지리다 아니 라진디세야디 나도 좀 봤디 군내라 네 가르쳐 그래. 라조 치와르지다偏要的这个落地了燃情的是一个的加上이게 더 안되게 두수 강가 용야 두수 강가 네버도 네 강가 라진지 단딩 투브리 자상 라진지 단딩 좀더 지시야지 단데 텔이야 지지를 마라야 소아터야 살아 소아터 당기 이듬 가르를 소아터 비네 디게야리 다 데레 단다 다마레 기타기 이듬 또디 지지 아니 지지 침불라 아니 라진지다 아니 단지다 라진지 니부티 아니 예 풍지 도배고를 침 다다 힘에 말아야 쓰지 다 단지다 이 셈아 라진지니부티 말아야 쓰 딘딘주니 좀시 딘주니부티 매버서지 아니 예담나 수와트비에 인나시다 하나도게 가르치 이담 가르친기 이담 세네다 상게 상계로지 소화되는 상계라 아니 이든 가르치려 소화되는 이든 다 단지다라 진디게부터 아니 타원에 매번 진길을 이니도 온도 메조지 진길을 삼사를 지지고요 다 이니고 온도서나 아니 내레바 탐제 용서 레바 탐제 가도서 어디 이사 디니 지기유사 아니 랑기 남기 소와터스 쿠바이네 소와터스들 단지다 라진디 아니 이것도 시월 진길로스 디니고 온도 메도 진길로스 소와터비에 답부비에 어디에
So text in 64 again, tremble him, and so on. So this is same as before. See here, again, Rinpoche was saying, so all of these negative thoughts or negative actions are actually becomes part of our life because of due to or because of our self-grasping and self-cherishing. So then, in this particular text, the composer, the author of this text is the Dharmarakkhita. So his primary deity, the practice deity, the meditational deity was Yamataka. So that's why here he's making a request and asking for a blessing to overcome the self-grasping and self-cherishing, and asking a power from the deity Yamataka. So then, so for you or for us, if we have our own primary deities in different or like whatever you may have, you can also make the same prayer or same blessing, ask for the same blessing from that deities. And even though if you not have any deity practice, So then you can imagine of Buddha. So you can ask Buddha to give you a power to overcome your self-cherishing, self-grasping. In general, you said, so somebody, if you have some kind of like protectors or something, then you can think this is a reliable, real, reliable source or something, like source or the kind of like government kind of something. So you can imagine of them, so imagine of them, ask them, and give you a power to overcome the self-grasping and self-cherishing. So the self-grasping, the self-cherishing is the ultimate, the source or the ultimate source of our the difficulties and the sufferings. So that's why whenever you ask for blessing or whenever you are seeking any help from anybody, just ask them to subdue your self-grasping and self-cherishing.
사제기 겨워드려들 하는 라진지도 던지기 로직이야래 이니야다 셴진디 매나 다 라지디 셴라 셴个소주야 라지의 빙의 셴个소주야 셴의 마진바네 셴의 경험당야 다 강가디 라진지기 지야 다 셴진지 지유는 소지가 말이 셴 구마구구 말이 셴의 경험당그 말이 랑기 네 셴의 기대에 지르바 셴의 경험당야 셴의 아니 지주마야 셴의 참마지야 meeting batuya watu sukanga ta kanje shenjinje yunu ya tu sukanga rajinji gichi rajinji ta ko sangba jinje ya yamba tanga ji ta shenjinje tiyuna yamba 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 ya shenjinje tiyuna sangbu jawa tanga ji bati yesan
So if you look really careful, so it's sort of like all of your problems and all of your difficulties and sufferings are actually caused by your own self-grasping and self-cherishing. So there's no other any source that actually causes you difficulties and suffering. So these two are the main, the fundamental cost of your own sufferings. So you can think if you think careful and look careful, you will see these are the two main sources that actually gives you all the unhappiness. Then, so for instance, you can see that so people are killing each other, fighting with each other. So when you look why they are fighting each other, they're trying to gain something for themselves. They are actually craving something, some kind of benefit for themselves. That's why they engage in that kind of violence kind of act. They like do that kind of violence acts. So then always, anything it actually comes from self-grasping, self-cherishing never brings the ultimate happiness. At the end, you will suffer. we all will suffer when we finish, when we complete that kind of actions out of your self-grasping, self-cherishing. So then, if you can imagine, on the other hand, you will never satisfy when you at the end of whatever you have done out of your self-grasping, self-cherishing. And on the other hand, you can imagine of like other cherishing. There's another way of thinking, like other cherishing, like concerning about other, always thinking about others. So then, if you are able to develop that kind of thoughts, that kind of mind set within yourself, that actually brings ultimate happiness. And at the end, whatever you have done, at the end, you will be more satisfied and you will be more happy whatever you have done out of the other cherishing thoughts or altruistic mind.
that's the Ranchindigi, me Luden to Tuyari, Ranchindi Jenny, Chudum Yabuson, and Nanya Menduya touching Silver, Jenny, Metzgiarva, Chudum, that not a sumbing Yari. This any in a me Luden Tosonet, meal. Dewa inya tu sukanga dewa sajiri dewa. Lana meri dewa ma. Dewa di nyamdu yare. Ngani mi ilu den tawsane dungi semeba yare. Nyawa da dundu da dusu le dungi chungare. Dendu seyati. Dewa ndu seyati. Nyawa da yeda da dundu le. Ani dewa chiwa yosan dewa ndu dendu seyati. 아니 동네 매바 말이 동네 야르바 알아도 아미 리텐들라네 니 그래서 이제 밤마쳐도 동네도가 리텐티 쳐도 리텐들랑 바이사 리텐들라 지 소야게 쳐도 아니 세츠구비 아니 그래 구구야리 mambuji 리텐티 이 내발라더니야 리텐티 간에 먹고 리텐티 랑스도 동네 간가 네들베 리텐티 때문에 영어 초조르지 그래 얘 맞대버리 메시지 얘 채나 동네 간데지니 영어 초조르지 어디 인상 이 리텐티 년주기 리텐티 야고 이미야지 동네 단에 매발 말이 당연한데 동네 단에 연주 매발이 탈배도 와서 동네 와서야지 어디 두고게 이 두고게서 두술의 라지다 단지기 맺지야 어디 내가 그 크레데발라섬 이야기 탈신하는 라지다 단지기 제네 야야레스
So then you may think, self-cherishing is something, there are like some positive aspect of the self-cherishing. So for instance, so when you feel like, when you terrify, when you hear about the lower realms and the sufferings of the lower realm actually terrifies you, then actually you generate really strong feel about that kind of suffering. And in order to free from that kind of suffering, then you try to generate or create causes that actually prevents you to be born into that kind of world. Then you will do some kind of positive actions out of self-cherishing. That actually self-cherishing brings, and that actual action actually comes from your self-cherishing. That positive action came from your self-cherishing, and also that positive action brings positive result that could bring you higher rebirth. For instance, a human being, right? Human rebirth. So then that is not the ultimate happiness. So you may think, sometimes you may think self-grasping has some kind of positive aspect. So then, for instance, a human rebirth is a positive result of the positive actions, but their positive actions actually caused by or derived from your self-grasping, self-cherishing. So, but still, when you look at that human rebirth, right, that is not the ultimate happiness. So, human rebirth, human beings, the body of the human beings, they are like by aggregate. When you analyze, when you look very close to those the nature of the body, so that nature of the body, this body is really vulnerable to receive any kind of sufferings. So that means that human rebirth is not ultimate happiness. And also you can see there are many human beings, even though they haven't taken human rebirth, they are going through lots of suffering, lots of difficulties. But that means they taking human rebirth is not the ultimate happiness. So if we decided to obtain like ultimate happiness, the only way is to obtain that kind of state is to free from suffering. So that is nirvana. So nirvana is the only state free from all types of suffering. So that nirvana actually comes forth or brings that nirvana actually comes to you, or we will achieve that kind of nirvana if we able to overcome our self-grasping, self-cherishing.
That's Korea Mangla, Kurgen Suyamis, Ada Pombutan, Aniji Karasuri, Ratindele, Kormabuyi, Korda, Yogmabuyi, Ani Kurgen Suyamis, Ani Kormabuyi, Jongdan Yakumerke, Ji, Ani Karasuri. Kormabuyi, Nashi, Jenny, Seven, Jongguya, Aniji. Lega yapuching it yapuchia sort of yapumajing in the theatre Tumbagi Jagubia. In Majevachena, and in Namshina, Lega yapuchene, Chibache, Yapumajing, Chibachena, Namshina, Nikangolo Lega, Chibaching it Chaviari. I call Yani, you are of the Mabinsa. Teacher in the Shuma Rala, she Shekishina, Rala Yoga Jimmy, the Rangi Chit Lady Jingiti, Mevache, Kalas and Yemevache, Archie, they Mevachayagi. Oti Yarabata, Kangolo Lana showed, she don't that the Abu Majona, Angolo Lana Shone, you can get to the Yapuching at the Tubuching Kangalo, and it's Shuma, Tubuching at the Chibache, and Karasure, and leg could clean what in the child in the
Then the verse number 65, we have many attendants, people around us, that no one obeys us or heeds what we say, right? What we say. So then, so if you have a lot of attendants or a leader of a group of people, then we need to treat them how they behave. How they behave. So we should not make equal to everybody, even though there are some people that they do like a bad thing. They do not act the way they're supposed to act, right? Something like that. Then if there are like some people, if you find there are some people they are behaving nice or they are doing good things, so we need to reward them. So we need to give them some kind of a special treatment, sort of like special treatment. Otherwise, so if you don't regard them as better person, good person, reward them, then after a while everything becomes kind of like, I don't know how to say, like chaos. So like so then nobody obeys you, and they think, and even though even though you should do some good thing, then you are not going to get any reward. That's the same. You are going to have you will receive the same treatment from even treatment as someone who is doing bad things. So then everything becomes really problems, right? Problems community. So that's why. So we need to be really careful when we when we uh, when we get around with people. If you are like acting as a leader of a community or a teacher.
that love mala jate granda tes pombo na pombo mala ta pombo mambo ro chi va che pombo mambo tile ti rangi bang ro chi na pombo mambo to sli pele go te che kangalo char kar che ani rang ta to si ti le du chang chi sam ani ring never 강에 대해 인도 잠바 지게 매된 버치니들 아니 본본마라 자템 그린다테스
So then this verse number 65, we feel we have friends in position of power, yet should we need help, we are left on our own. So then we think if you know someone's really in like high position, so then you think they are like, if you have a lot of them, you think they will help you, they will protect you. So then when you have difficulties, and they will, when you have difficulties, and they will say like, oh, so the other person will do this, so they are just moving you, like just pushing you away from like each other. That they're saying that he will do this, and just go and see that guy. They will always do that.
dus kanga ranchindita tantigi tuberis jibere
Again, tremble him, and so on. So this is actually due to these are actually due to the self-grasping and self-cherishing.
너한테 tubeyin santiya lama kunjolo suata yati ranchindita 아니 단진이부터 시와 진기로 수수 lama kunjolo suata yati 어디리 수ata yati
So then the tremble him, so on, actually a prayer or evoking the Lama deity and asking him to help you to overcome your self-grasping and self-cherishing.
that's in Osachela.
Any questions? Yeah. 지도 어떤 개인기 domba 하시기 domba 렌치라 domba 렌 걸 담을 시에서 한주 셈베 domba 다 마게 domba 일이야 아니 그냥 캐바 가리어레스 내가 세전에 캐바 인버지 하고 미게지기 차는 샤바는 가리고 치어요
that's Changes in the Tumba setting that Lensa and that somebody Lensa with Chavaya Yaris Nagatumba. Changes in the Tumba to Lensa to Sanja to Changes in the Tamji Junior Langu Yaris and to Sanjay Junior. Then Nagatumba Yedam. 아니 가서 그래 주디시 예든 라마 예든 동네 민국이야 그래서 근데 나도 좀 버세들 나 라미 미슈야 말했어 나 라미 샤이투주기 내조기다 내조 라미 이런 나도 좀 배야 돼 이유상 이 렌서디 이점 남아의 이점들이 있잖아요. 뭐고요. 그때문에 내일에 잡아야 돼. 아니 가서 그래. 내일에 잡아야 돼.
So there are differences. First of all, there are differences in the perceptors, right? Perceptors where the basis or the object where you're taking the vows. So the Bodhisattva vows are actually taken in front of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So they are the source, they are the field. Then you are taking the vows of the Bodhisattvas. So then the tantric vows. Tantric vows was vows taken from the deity, the deities. So there are deity, one of the deity from the 4 classes of tantra. So then the tantric vows, right? Tantric vows, the first 2 classes of the tantra, the action tantra and the performance tantra, they do not have vows. So then the latter 2, the tantric, the classes, the Yogacara Tantra and Highest Yoga Tantra. So if you're taking any vows within this class, then you are supposed to take the vows of the Tantras. So that's why there are differences in the basis, or there are differences in the preceptors.
Dini Chanjusimbe Tomba Sati, Gechimbu, Chidan Gechimbu, then at Chanjusimbe Tomba Yuba, Tomba Yuba, Digi, Yawachik Sabatan, Tomba never Digi, Yawachik Sabati, Tata, Damdu, Damdu Mambu, Paying Chanson the Tomba Yu, Anga Tomba Unit, Digi, Yawachik, Chimbachik Tambina, Chimbati, Ni, Shiravi Jachimbu. Chimbu, Tindichiri. Tomba Mania Digi, Chimbachi Tong, Dip Chimbati Top Shuju. Idan Kevin Tigari. Yawasana, Yawa Top Chimbu. Say, I Tigasane, Tiba Top Chimbu.
So the advantage of taking vows and the disadvantage of not taking vows. So which is said, the advantages is if you're taking any vows, for instance, the Bodhisattva vows and tantric vows, so then you're committed or you're decided to engage into the Bodhisattva practices and the tantric practices. So then by taking this vow, and if you engage, if you carry the same manner, according to the course or according to the vows, then you're accumulating a lot of merit. So then compared to that, if someone doesn't have any vow, even though they do like some the positive actions, the virtuous action, they are generating or creating really little the virtues compared to someone who has taken vows.
Tene Chanjusimbe Tomba Theatre, the dance to see Mare, or the Chanjusimbe Tindere, Tambutilla, do shame, Cheno, Dalet, Ralet Tubajia, Shalem, Genjia, to Suri Maris, Tambutilla dear, not G. And Dr. Shim Chinam shaking. In Dalatuvachia, Susu Yapu, some Yapuchi, Chigarangi, George, Cheshune, Tipe, George Shabatipe, Passion, doing top of Jenny. Susu, get share the shoulder. Rana Tubachia, Jenga, it Sigmaris, Jigsmere. Shame City, Shella, Ninjuja, Shella Katoya, what in this Jenujigmaris, and you sympathy at the day, Ransing at the Ranchin. Any Mebata, she was near Nimbayasa, Sessa, Rangi Yundeti. Rangi Jawa Sambuchi Jerry in the Teja Shield, the Shoal, the Rangi Jawa Sambuchi Jeshapatia, doing top Jer, Jati, Tatu Sigad. Shangi, any Shala Juju, Shangi Jawa Sambuchi at the Pash, Yat, Third Madame Bache, Shingi Java member said the Gun Janga Dane. Shingu Kukarichi doctor Gun Janga Sumichi. Ne Shia Jerva. What the Tatu Shemin said the Ele Dimiti Tambure is. And it did in Mambucho Jayadis. So to Jay.
This may call Nagi Nagi Totunga, because the changes in the Totunga Cavayo, she will.
Maradale. Nag Tombata changes in the Toba unit or Kandich Jaju Tungurche, Medita. Divasani set of Chimbut in the Yaris. Changes in the Tombasi, the Kandit, and only Kandit.
Then the Bodhisattva vows. So, for example, one of the examples said there are 18 root vows or root commitments in Bodhisattva vows. So that starts with the Datu Shime. Datu Shime means Datu means like praising yourself. Praising yourself. It could be like pride or ego. So then that could be like you can have ego, egoistic mind about your own virtues. Let me say, for instance, if you have done something, the positive actions, virtues, help to someone else, and you are actually showing off to all the other people, saying like I have done such and such a thing, a good thing. This is actually datu, or like regarding yourself is really like important person, or egoistic mind, or praising yourself. Datu is that actually mind we generate that kind of mind because of self-cherishing. So we craving something for ourselves. That's why we engage, we like do that kind of actions. So stadu sheme. Sheme means the criticizing other. Criticizing other means like making them look down, something like that. So then not rejoicing or disregarding their virtuous acts. Then these are we call sheme. Sheme means like trying to find some kind of faults on others. So this is one of the two the root vows of the Bodhisattvas.
Oh, the Sata changes and Rangi Kawachi Kadach Jeshin, Kawachi Shavati, any Shangil paying no sort of Jevina, and the Rangi Kawati, my young children. And the Rangi Kawati pay Kadach Sambuja Shavati, Beck to Chin Pay, Jevina, Kawati complete to Yatan, Kawato Chivayana. And Shangi Kawati Sambuja, the Atun Tuna, Diligent Yapiri. Shangi Grandy Majeda Shangi Grandy Yard, and Jevina Rangi Kawat Jungu. Shangi Grandy Shangi Grandy never. That's Gantan and Managita made coverable. But the Sankyarity. Then you have the could hear the money Tamburico, Juna, the Tamburis, the Tamburi, the Juna, nearby. Genji Jason, of course, and the Pogri, some of whom may do in these Rangi Kawati, and these shall never be Cabri. What is that? What is so there is in Shingi Yaris.
So the first one is like praising yourself. Right? Praising yourself. As a Bodhisattva practitioner, Bodhisattva, or the Bodhisattva, as we have taken the vows of the Bodhisattva, we are supposed to hide our qualities, good qualities. So if you do that, that actually helps you to make a better person, sort of like a better person. So then, instead of like exposing or like instead of like showing off your virtues, the things to other, so if you hide them from other, that actually increases your inner qualities, and also it creates like a greater virtues. So then another one is that they like criticizing other, right? We should not criticize other. So we always talk about like virtues and talk good things and things about other. So that actually also helps you to generate greater kind of inner qualities, because so you sometimes we can say there are bad people, there are bad people. So this is true. All of my statements are true. So this person, such a person is bad thing. So you may think like I'm telling truth, but still, even though you're telling the truth, it actually cause pain to the other person. So that's because of their reason, solid reason, we are not supposed to criticize others. So then we should look the good quality aspect of that person. There are, even though we consider individual as a bad person, they do have some stand of good qualities. We should look from that kind of point of view, that side, that aspect. So that if you keep doing that kind of thing, practice not criticizing other, always trying to look on the good qualities of other, that actually helps you to helps you to increase your inner qualities.
다 전주스에 동바스인데 대천부시부인들이 라상부 지역이 더 망부지럽시야.
So so these are the two vowels. There are other many vowels, including the root vowels. So then all of these vowels are actually designed to promote your happiness. How do we? Sharon?
Oh, thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Pastor. Before we were speaking about freedom from self-grasping and lead one to nirvana. What is the difference between attaining nirvana and attaining Buddhahood? What is the difference between attaining nirvana and attaining Buddhahood?
Oh, okay, Nirvana. Hold on, so maybe I'm trying to figure out like a translation for Nirvana. Nirvana, tarba Nirvana re, translation. The kashi sangi de Nirvana lagdo. The dig tool. The tarba tobe ta sangi when you tarba kariya is. The things and the dig to this one of us the dancing down. Dancing in much of tarba tobe. The tarba did sangi goban tobe in Kebakarios.
타바토야디 레하와 타바토야디기 먼저 티베니 시기야 뭐고 티베 시베티바 시티스니체 아니 뇽모 베티베티 파인티 타바토바리스 아니 뇽모베 마세 시제 티베방스나 아니 인기가 봐서는 탐지치 몇 같아 그래. 다 탑에 그만 통역이 있는데다. 예주를 아무나 때문에 티버충 티버멤베 티버충으로 티버멤베 남 예주다라 얘기 남나 때문에 타바타야 야리스. 상기주 그만 두리야디 티버충을 남나 때문에 야리스. 아니 빠져이네 개발야리 급직을 남내리 개발야리.
So nirvana and obtaining Buddhahood, these two are two different entities. They are different in their path, and they are different in the practices of the practices. So the nirvana is something that you have overcome or like eliminate all the mental afflictions. Okay, there are two negatives, okay, actually that prevents us to become Buddha. So one of the negative is called like mental afflictions, and another one is called the obscure to knowledge. These two are the mental negativities. So then when we achieve nirvana, so we are eliminating the mental afflictions. So but still we have the obscure to knowledge, the negative of obscure to knowledge. So that and only you can eliminate once you become Buddha. So that's why there are two differences in negativities and two differences in practices, right? So then the nirvana. So nirvana can be obtained or achieved by the lower vehicle practitioners, so which is the solitary realizer and the higher realizer. These two practitioners can achieve nirvana. But in order to achieve Buddhahood, so we need to rely on, or we need to carry the practice of Mahayana path. So Mahayana path is the only way or access to become Buddha.
아니 자준배 고마세야지 년도기 자준배 고만 그걸 태순 아니 11개 자준배 고만 예버자이 것 조산에 거기에 뒤지 아니 제가 전부 지는데 가서 상파지 들었잖아요. 단지 주고만 토바를 계제 잠에 숨기 봐도 좋았다니 아니 좋고야. 내가 그 디벨롭 때는 다 단지 그거가 세티 나는 시험이 나게 디벨롭 때네 좋고야. 내가 그 디벨롭 때는 좀 이제 이두게 제도지래야 좋고야. 어딘데기 잡아만 봐야 돼.
And also there are differences in their length of like achieving the process or the duration or to achieve their goal, right? Their goals. So for instance, the serial realizers, so they take 3 lifetimes to achieve their goal, and the solitary realizer, they take 100 eons to achieve their goal. And Bodhisattva, it takes 3 eons. Rangi di kya jarwe. And chanju tengari kya tami sumbo. Tami wasum. So the Bodhisattva. So solitary realizer.
장례스 개발자 동치금 any 장례 당부지바 어딘지
kya sumse di tami sumse borbe. Mar kya tami kya se. Rangi gidi. Tami jarwe. Okay, so the solitary realizer, that takes 100 kalpa. Okay, 100 kalpa, or sometimes they translate it as like 100 eons. Okay? So then the Bodhisattva, they takes countless 3 kalpas or 3 eons. I don't know. Countless is a number actually. It's a number in Tibetan. Tangme, countless. And so what's the Tantrayana practice? If someone's like, if you carry Tantrayana practice, so it could take only a short life of human rebirth to achieve their goal. So that's why there are differences in both time and durations.
Thank you, Number 2.
Jinin? Yeah, Jinin?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As a leader, sometimes I need to say things to people in a strong way because I feel they are not hearing what I'm saying. And I'm wondering if Rinpoche has a recommendation for how to speak to people in that kind of situation that would be most beneficial for them and for myself.
So you said they're not hearing, means that they're not understanding you, or what? They're not hearing, she said, right?
Maybe not understanding or not hearing, not listening. Yeah.
So this is beneficial. Hello, Korean mala. Kungi suya me. Belaya pena Suzuki tai ko bachi lega singi chi kodi da oji be chani. Mi ka stam dam mi da le signi khatu be karbo che lago do kun tu ha ko me la we ko ha ma ko chi. And then chi gi de ne ga bla ya kan de chi.
그래서
Then a mealy hello goatee in the channel. Make a ladu jungle, who's some woman to a hammock or whatever. The money but over then the name good luck. I think that's in chill.
that is in the 수 가져올 텐데 삼백장 선거상부터는 가수래 양조라리아 당시 고대 청이지 여러분지 그래서 간가 삼부상부터는 지 강내면 전부 제국에 있어.
So, first of all, Rabbi said you should have like a pure intentions, right? That you should regard them as something, so you something you can help, sort of like you can help. And when you talk with them, right? When you talk with them, then you should repeat over again and again. So first of all, say it again and again. Let them know again and again, sort of like. And also you should make them fully understand what your intentions, what you're trying to do. So that way it could help.
네.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the penalty because of the chick wong of Rawa Shashwa, because you won't raw in a dealer, then Suzuki killing the chebo for your vessel.
다 오늘에 자기 유행에 급급이 괜히 유행이야. 지다 매니지 온 슈벌 때문에 진급 투여해야 돼. 아니 지금 대대 팀배 지 이 괜히 지고냐야. 이 라마 수수기야 괜히 저거 지 이제 시제니 순이야 돼. 아니 야 예바도 지고냐 급급해야 돼. 그래서 라마 수수기 괜히 지중에 여러 것이 지나 중에 두수이는 괜히 예바도 그거야 말이야. 내가 인사 이제 만부야.
So during practice, we said it depends on how you take initiations, right? So there are some initiations that do not have any commitments. There's no commitments. Just take as a blessing. So there's no involve any commitments. So then you take in that kind of initiation, so you don't need to do any practices. You don't need to do anything afterwards. So there are some practices. There are some duties. Some commitments and the daily practice are like mandatory. It just has to be do that. So then if you take in that kind of deity practices, you have to do it. You should do it. Then and also sometimes it depends on the lamas. Some lama they make certain practice really special for them and also for the audience. And they will give you directions, or they will give you the instruction how to carry on your practice. And some of them are really some teachers they are really restrict about their practices. If they tell you, you should do this such practices, and you should carry them. And there are like some initiation. Some teacher they give initiation. They will make really loose kind of initiation. They will tell you, you can do they will give you options. Like so if you could, you do this such thing. If you can't, it's okay. So then at that situation, you should decide. So there are many different places of like taking the initiations. Yes. Oh, so can you repeat again? Sorry. Yeah. So I really don't understand what was can you help me? Sorry. Oh, so you're asking a blessing from him. Oh, okay. sorry. I was like a little confused. Yeah, this is 그런 자기 개인기 네 가서 되는 수준다. Jadi nalji yoro ata pungju to local como pungju le ta penal hal ya so ata che lo le chilap na ro che di chere che na la ai gen la ya ki si prong ge ta de chilap ra na ro che la na ta di khandes che ore che thu ga yung go re khal che
al chila na ya mari chilap chilap si kamba swata shana digiaris chilap karasure ani nos tu ya maris sanje ta tu ni sanje aran tu sanje singe de ganan tu chi kwa samne de yesadele chi shu yesi ya kanje kwa susu kwa samtane de 태투 제사 소와 그바다 없으네 되지 소와다 없으리야 지 상계기 친기리 켐바유스 그바 켐스니 켐스들 상계 태투기야리 이사 소와다를 디데리 지다 소와다비야라 지 우리는 로그비야 말이 단계 고아서 소와 나를 되는 소와다스들이 상계다 상계기 켐백이 켜바인상 상계기 그 켐스니 켐바유스도 상계 뒤에 어디에서는 디리스니 소와다스들이 아니 소와다스들이 진럽 유니티를 봐 아니 소와다 진럽 야바리
so so Rabisha's first his reaction was he doesn't have any blessings to give you. Okay. So then he said, so the blessings, blessings receiving or asking for blessing is that we are asking a blessing from like someone who has, that kind of ability, or if someone who is capable of giving us blessings. So then we can think of like Buddha. So Buddha is the one who has that kind of capacity to provide us blessings. So then the Buddha. So then it's not necessary you have to go and see Buddha. Go and see Buddha in front of him. You don't need to present. You don't have to be in front of the Buddha. So you just imagine of him. Think of him. So the Buddha is. We call it like Kempa. Kempa means like a wisdom. So Buddha wisdom is like a provide the entire universe. We believe universe. So, so because of that, so then if you make a sincere kind of prayer or like sincere kind of like ask for help, then the force of his wisdom actually force him to just come to you. So then that means you can ask for blessing, or you can do a prayer in any places. It could be at your home, like any places. You just remember him, you just ask for help, and they will come in front of you.
고사체라 연대 들레충 아야 고사친부 민친부 고사친부 쓰는 민친부 연대 단에 매봐 연대 들레충 대신이 됐다 지 아라는 뇌지 진여르지 직처도 니는 뇌지 진여 신제는 뇌지 진여 지 시기여봐 이제 고연대 매버지 되기를 제가 연대 딜레충 고사체라 연대 딜레충 라마체라 자다 딜레충 라마 친구가 민케 질 Alamasjiki. Ni Chagdan Ranginyela Chaba, Dalatawa, the Chagdan Mongbati, Kage Nation Lama, Lameg Ming Chimbu Yabiti. Ni Rancho the Shenchos, the Chagdan. Ani Mongba Meshimba. What in the Chada Julius? You said the two Garab and you need duty that you can to get a chivat the do the Garab and use nature. Chada did do Garably on Julie Chivarach. What the Suba? What in the cigarette? Yeah.
So, verse number 66 says, we have gained lofty status and ranks of prestige, yet our knowledge is poorer than that of a ghost. We are considered great guru, yet even the demons do not harbor such hatred and clinging desire. So the Kosotola. So Kosotola means yes, who has like a high rank in their communities, right? Communities. So even though they have a high status in their community, but their behavior is like worse than like a ghost. So like that. And we are considered great gurus. Okay, gurus and even demons. So gurus. So then someone like we consider them as great gurus and great lamas, leaders. Right? So their responsibility is to help their communities, or their whoever's coming to seeking help from them. Instead of doing that, they're making that they are actually creating the contradiction between the community. There, for instance, one of the example is like saying like, so this is our group and we are the part of this party, and so this is our lineage, and such as just making some kind of like discrimination between the communities or peoples or sanghas.
That is. Yeah,
And we said all of this happens due to their self-grasping and self-cherishing.
Oh, that is it. That Tawa Tola, Java killing, that Tawa Tolo, J. Jandam Tawa, Company Tawa, the Jandam, Nelu, Company Tawa, net use, Indig Tawa Tolo. That Tawa said, Nelu Company Tawa, Sinitu, Tawa, and a Tosho of Jirva, Tawa. Indeed, Random the company community Tawa Tubu. Yende Java Chiletus, Java said, Ani Nagi in the Java Penet Java Chantung J. Dakanje Java Nemba Janjang Jimmy. Ani Chita Pagi, Jabani said the Tawa to Yende, Jabba Chili means Jabati killing in bus.
Chili children in the shoes you were under
Yeah.
Kitty children in Barrel and under
Jabata killing is at the chip the carriage. Kanga cheese, Kanga Sagriva, Tobani cheese. That is Kanga Sanyed color Karazani Sanyed. And she carry image near Tachi Chabati, what the China Shichini. Chabati Karasene, Kalamine Kuni Kangasa, Luigi me, I mean, Mexico Kangachino. Our Tobians, Tombani return use. Chabati Kangalo, or the Shajan Palme to Juba, and it's Jiggy. Nitanga Juba, the Suba, Palme to Juba. What did it do? Juba, Juba Chile to see.
So then in verse number 67, so we talk about theories and most advanced teaching, yet our daily conduct is worse than a dog's. So then I actually double check with Jimmy what that means. So anyway, so the Kosachelo, we talk about theories of the Tawa. Yeah, Tawa means view. Okay, view. And here we talk about theories and most advanced teaching, which means like a view, this ultimate view of the Buddhist teaching is emptiness. Right? There are some people that claim that they have seen and realized the emptiness. Okay, the ultimate views or the emptiness, but their conduct or their daily activity, their behavior is like dog. Means like let me say the dog. It says dog because dog eats everything, right? And also they have like a certain kind of behaviors. They do like because of their dogs, sort of like dogs, right? So for instance, here the example is like so then there are some people that claim they have seen the ultimate view of emptiness, but instead of the controlling over their behavior, they tend to drink alcohols, and they tend to like go with the women and sort of like that. So then their behavior is similar like dog. Similar like dog. They eat everything, means like they drinks, right? They drinks. We're supposed to regard our morality as part of our practice. They forget about that, and they claim they have seen the highest yoga. Then they do whatever they want.
Then, Yende Shima Tamje Lung Shores. And the Yende Shima said it to do something. And I make it to do it. Yende Shima to do the jeans and Yende Shima. Kan Chevy inside Chevati, Nikan, she never never Kangolo. Never Kanga Chevy inside, and it does produce it. India Marva Chuting Simiti. Yende Shima said it shooting did Lunakores. Everything must say any Teddy Digi Lunakore. Yende Shima, any shooting Lunakura insa, any Digi the never Digi never insan, any the Teddy Digita, Chime Digi, the Lunakores, then Luna sure say that the any Chime Digi at the children that any shooting the Joanisa, any Yendegi Shima shooting the Lunakura. Any Digi Luna for is.
So then we are learned, intelligent, and versed in great knowledge, yet cast to right cast refers to the wisdom ethical basis. Yunden Shima. In Tibetan, it's a Yunden Shima. Yunden Shima means the fundamental basis of the good qualities. So it's in the so ethical practice of ethical or the morality is the basis of all the other practices. So then, even though we have learned like really, intensively, but we tend to disregard, or we tend to forget about the basic ethical practices. So then, Yondishima Kur means like cares to the wisdom ethical. That means like we are, we are carrying on all the, we are just breaking all the ethical the practices, the behavior, the morality, practice of morality. So that since we have been like breaking those ethical the practices, and we're so engaging into unethical kind of practices, that actually takes away happiness of this life, and also it takes away the happiness for the future life too.
Digi Takarisana, Digi Tawa, Mimi Tawa said the Yelemi Tawa said the Tawa Tumbu Yansi, Tawa di Tinetigi, Jamba Dingi Kumkumar, Shimba Kumar, Saba Kumkumar, Sudan Kumkumar, Jojo, Tawa Kangala, Kesuchi, Yamari Jevra, and the Mary Yansa. Any to solo local. Just that any changing to do missing never no look what any chedi picking dirty. Any no look on to get about any Java Sango to scandal or the quarter or things digit naughty no look.
So our view. So views is like absence of any object in their mind. There could be like many views, emptiness, and yume meme is
Yamari said.
So yume meme is like so nothing exists, from their basis. That kind of view. These views are really high views in Buddhism, but using their views, and they're actually they are like leaning towards the extremists, like one of the extremes. They're saying that then at the end there's nothing exists. All of them are like projections. So there's nothing. That means like the practice of the Buddhist Taoist practices and Buddhist Taoist deeds, and the moral practice of moralities, and the practice of generosity, giving, helping to others, all of them are not exist according to them. So that's why they think all of these are useless, wasting time. So then all of these are not exist for them. So then they tend to meditate on like nothingness in their minds. Then they breaks all the basic rules in the Buddhists. So then they engage in all kinds of unethical behaviors. They think none of them will exist for them. So that kind of view actually, even though they are like really high view, the most advanced view, but they actually falls into really extreme, one of the extremists.
That does Ganga Ranch in the Chevres, the Karasa. Toba Karasa. Punji Toba Golachim, Dada Shime in the Marayas. What is that? What is it?
So again, they have that kind of views, that kind of mistake, views due to their self-grasping and self-cherishing. Oh, okay, we can have one question, which is going to stop. Yeah. What can you tell me the verse number? Yes, 66. Yes.
66. One of them says, yet our knowledge is poorer than that of a ghost. We are considered great gurus, yet even the demons do not harbor such hatred.
Okay.
So I can see the fact that it makes me feel shameful that I would be even worse than a demon if I had thoughts like that. But I would like to know a little more about demons. Were they sentient beings at one time, or do they come from like a different?
Yes. So this is again tanda delia. Tanda le do mangula go sarwa. And lama chela shena dulit tu sejora. Dulit tu ko morang kita tukja to che and che na. Oni dulit zolo samotane morang oni kono te di takalores. Susu takalo chomela ya do da. Susu bedi. Ngota ya ra resha. This also do you think the contagion? Do you think the Nyama Charchigani stem gene change over there? Do the canelere and this share?
Did I do you see the investigators? Churching Chetuin, Pacheting, Sample, Chawaching, Chetuin, Pacheting. Lenny Ungutushabe, Jimelam Lokatang, Lang and Bagel Tani, Jogi, any church ever, church is a kind Balaji, Adu Jabachini, the Casa Tile, Chida Tusi.
So in general, demons. So demons are the being that actually harms to good people, sort of like good people. Good people means like someone who is practicing dharma, or like someone who is trying to be a good person, sort of like. So these demons are actually causing trouble, difficulties to this kind of people, like good people, right? So then there are realms for them. So then because of there are many factors why they become these demons. So that could be like because of their bad karmas. Bad karma actually lead them to be demons. Or sometimes when they make a wrong prayers or wrong dedications, wrong intentions, then they can be born as a demon. So there are many causes that we can born as a demon.
Debelha, he got it in the Chiati, Chadam Sumla Sabatis, Gabriel Jenny, to Suvis, Sinjagi Chutuvala, some Parature, Paching it. He shared Chida, you see at the Numo Yaris, Numo Betus, Numo, and Chadam, Numo Betus, it is. To Sua Tabata and Tamjimba Tuvala, part to Jugiaraba. Then I see Pungu to say, Chidago to say, Chidago to say, Sanjag so never together. So never a part of us. Chua Metapas in the 2 inches, they need to only chua the 2 inches. Any rangi so never a part of you together. They as a Chidago to use. And the Pungu to use at the Pungu to use at the they need to only do a Pungu to that. The Pungu to use it.
So in English it says demons, right? In Tibetan du. I think in Sanskrit they call it maras. Maras. There are 4 types of maras or du or demons according to the Buddhists, I think. And so for maras or for demons are demons of aggregates and demons of sometimes they call it a lot of debt, and and also the mental affliction is considered as a demon. And there's a son of the worldly god, okay, worldly god. So he actually, so call like how we do. I don't know how to say in English. There's a name for him, but I don't remember that. Do you remember the name? No. Right. She was like a son of a desired god, okay, desired god, son of a desired god. So he actually caused a lot of trouble to the human beings. So then, so when you look at this, right, the Nyemon, or the mental affliction. So mental affliction is something actually preventing us to have the long-lasting happiness. So that's what we call it, du, or demons. Yeah. And the Pongpo du is like the Mars of the aggregates. But didn't explain about that. And a lot of death, right? A lot of death, or Mara, the death of Mars, a lot of death. Okay? Some they call it a lot of death. So a lot of death is actually taking away, so our the life, actually that actually actually taking away or causing us suffering. So taking away our happiness. So then these are the four maras, four demons, okay, or Tibetan du.
Thank you.
Uh,
Then let's start from the Tuesday.